Pokémon isn't real, right? I'm what you might call a hacker. Not exactly that, but more of game hacker. I create new games from other games, add some extra levels, put new stuff, post it on the web, put up a disclaimer, etc. The games I like to do this the most to is Pokémon games. No doubt many of you read creepypasta and know all about people posting stories that attempt to keep people awake at night out of fear, and some work. This, however, isn't a fake. Let me start from the beginning. I had just finished hacking Pokémon Blue and changed up a few things. It was just for fun, mind you, and I had no intention of ever thinking anything to backfire. It was after I finished a few tweaks that I noticed that I had hacked almost every Pokémon game except for one. Pokémon Leaf Green. Being that this was the last Pokémon hack I was going to make, I wanted to make it special. My favorite Pokémon is Eevee, and I thought, why not make it the main character in the game? Despite what most think, it isn't that hard to change a storyline of a game. There are many programs that can help you do it. The storyline I made for Pokémon Leaf Green, however, was Pokémon Apocalypse, or moreover, Pokéapocalypse. I know, sounds morbid, but I'm that kind of guy, or used to be. It was supposed to be simple enough. I created another evolution for Eevee that involved a moonstone. I cancelled out all other evolution it can make. From that point on it couldn't become Jolteon, Flareon, etc. The Pokémon that I placed it to transform into was Dark Eevee. Before you start wondering, this is not a copy of Umbreon or anything like that. It was supposed to be a new type of Pokémon that I created. I also changed its moveset too. It was supposed to know only the move curse, being that I was inspired by some pastas at the time, I admit. That wasn't how it went though. After all was said and done, I plugged the ROM into the Visual Boy Advance on my computer and started playing. It started out normally. I was taken into the professor's lab soon enough. I also changed the starter Pokémon of the game, making Eevee the only Pokémon that can be chosen. It was after I took Eevee that a strange thing happened. Professor Oak began talking about depressing things I didn't program him to say, with my rival that I had named Sorrow to the left of my player, Grief. But then, all of a sudden, the Eevee popped out of its ball. I didn't program it to do that. If any of you played Pokémon Yellow and had that Pikachu follow you, it was similar. Only, when I tried to talk to the Eevee, it only looked at me with a depressed glare. It was supposed to be simple enough. I created another evolution for Eevee that involved a moonstone. I cancelled out all other evolution it can make. From that point on it couldn't become Jolteon, Flareon, etc. The Pokémon that I placed it to transform into was Dark Eevee. Before you start wondering, this is not a copy of Umbreon or anything like that. It was supposed to be a new type of Pokémon that I created. I also changed its moveset too. It was supposed to know only the move curse, being that I was inspired by some pastas at the time, I admit. That wasn't how it went though. After all was said and done, I plugged the ROM into the Visual Boy Advance on my computer and started playing. It started out normally. I was taken into the professor's lab soon enough. I also changed the starter Pokémon of the game, making Eevee the only Pokémon that can be chosen. It was after I took Eevee that a strange thing happened. Professor Oak began talking about depressing things I didn't program him to say, with my rival that I had named Sorrow to the left of my player, Grief. But then, all of a sudden, the EV popped out of its ball. I didn't program it to do that. If any of you played Pokémon Yellow and had that Pikachu follow you, it was similar. Only, when I tried to talk to the EV, it only looked at me with a depressed glare. I was pretty unnerved by that, but later on, I thought nothing of it and pressed on. Once I battled my rival, I noticed that its moveset wasn't what I programmed it to have either. Instead of just having Curse, it had 3 moves: Perish Song, Frustration, and Pain Split. Knowing what all the moves did, I used the move Frustration, being that it was the only attack move I had. Almost instantly, Sorrow's Charmander was taken down, with the caption it was a one-hit KO. Needless to say, I was shocked, and kind of excited. If I had a Pokémon that can do a one-hit KO, I can take on anybody, maybe even the league, with just my EV. I took my EV to level 30, all the while it wouldn't learn any new moves. It didn't want to learn any TMs or HMs, so I had to catch new Pokémon to use them. Finally, I happened upon to stumble a Moonstone. I finally had a chance to be able to get my EV to transform into a dark EV. I selected Moonstone, then I clicked on my EV in the Pokémon team menu. But it seemed EV had different plans, and that's when things really went apeshit. At first, it showed up when I tried to get it to transform. On the 3rd try, I heard an EV cry, and the caption read, "Please don't make me transform. Don't you like the way I am?" Instantly, I was in shock. Again, I didn't program this to do that. But, being the stupid bastard that I am, I tried one last time. It then showed the evolution screen with EV evolving. I felt bad, but then I shook it off. After all, Pokémon isn't real, right? After EV evolved into Dark EV, I looked into the sprite and saw a few things that were off. It had dark fur with purple eyes and a white belly, as I designed. But that was the only thing that stayed the same. It now had a murderous expression on its face. There was red on its tail and ears, which I later realized was blood. But the most surprising thing was that it wanted to learn a new move. It was called Wormhole. I didn't know what this move did, and being that it had only 3 moves at the time, I didn't have to delete one to make room for it. I went into the grass to find some weak Pokémon to try it out on. God, I wish I hadn't done that. A level 26 Raticate came out of the grass. I could have sworn I saw fear in its expression, but I'm not sure. It all happened so fast, I can barely make anything out. Without my command or anything, Dark Eve used Wormhole. The screen then cut to black, and wouldn't turn back on no longer how long I waited. So I closed the Visual Void Advance and tried to calm myself down. This was freaking me the fuck out. It was then I looked back at my monitor and started to shit bricks. Dark EV was staring right up at me from my screen, blinking. Then a distorted cry came from the speakers. Captions appeared below the Pokémon, saying this: "What's wrong, Master? You created me. Isn't this what you want?" I'm losing my mind, which is why I'm typing this so you can read it. You probably don't believe me. You may just dismiss it as another pasta, just another story to scare people. After all, you may reason to yourself, Pokémon isn't real, right? To continue where I left off, Dark Eevee was following me wherever I went. I saw it everywhere. The computer screen, my laptop, my Gamma Boy Color even froze when I turned it on and only showed Dark Eevee looking at me, blinking and talking, continually making sounds with that distorted cry. Even as I type this, it's staring at me through my television. I'm pleading to you, reader. Don't do what I did. Just don't.